In this lesson, we're going to go in and redraw some of the edges to get them ready to cut up the body piece into panels. Okay, so we've got this piece on the side. We've already cut the door out, but there are a few places that, like on a real car, you're going to have breaks in the panels. And basically, we're going to have three different places where we're going to cut this body into different pieces. So let's take a look at some of those right now. The first place we're going to do that is right up here, and it's going to be really hard to see, but you can kind of tell there's a line right there. We're going to actually cut that coming back from this line right here, and we're going to cut it straight up. Okay, so let's go ahead, and first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and add an edge right there. It'll help us see it just a little bit better. So that's where we're going to cut this, but we're going to cut it coming over from here. So let's go ahead and check, make sure here. So you can see this a little bit better. I'm going to just select all the faces from the piece that we want to cut out. And we want to have all these selected right there. And that's basically what we want to cut out right there, that portion. So I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to say extract that. And let's see if that worked. Yeah, it looks like it worked just fine. I'm going to delete the history. Now, if we just left it like that, obviously it's going to be pretty blobby and smooth, so we need to go in here and add some edges to hold this. All right, so the first edge that we're going to add is, let's go ahead and add one right here. And I'm just going to add an edge right here. And we'll probably need one right there. And on this side, we'll need one right here. And we'll take care of the rest of that when we go in and start adding the thickness to these panels. But for now, let's go ahead and delete our history. Let's leave that as it is. We've got it cut out the way that we want it to. So let's move on to the next one. The next place we want to cut out, let's go ahead and move back here to the back end. You can see this one a little bit better. You can see we've got one edge is almost right on the edge we already have. This is basically a cut right here that comes back from the wheel arch and then goes up and over. So you can see this is pretty well defined. For this one, we've already got an edge right here. It's just angled a little bit wrong. So I'm just going to go in here and we're going to move these points kind of into position, much like we did when we were drawing our lines out to extrude the scoops and the doors and things like that. So some of these are pretty close. Some of them need a little more movement there. So we're just going to draw those into position, trying to get as smooth a line as we can here. And go over to the top. That one's in position. And I'll just grab that one. For this one, I'll just use the world. Move it straight back. Curve it up a little bit. Alright. So now we've got these faces defining this cutout. So what we can do is select all the faces that we want to extract here. I'm going to select the extra and then deselect this for the cut. For checking our perspective, you can see that this is where we want to cut out. So again, I'm going to go up here to mesh and I'm just going to extract those faces. You can see now, I'm going to delete my history here. And we're definitely going to need some more edges to maintain that, and depending on how smooth we want that to be. Let's go ahead and take a look at how smooth that is. It's actually pretty sharp, so we're going to need an edge. Maybe it's like right here, possibly right here, to actually make that corner. And because of that, we need to match that up on this side. And that means we need to go in here, our side view, and just grab these vertices and just try to use those to smooth this out a little bit. Okay. We'll actually want to keep those. We can use it. We can smooth it out a little bit, but we probably want to keep those down closer to here because we're going to use that to help create this sharp corner here where these meet. Okay. So we don't want to space those particular vertices out too much because they will be useful down where they are. And let's do also one right down here. There we go. And I'm just going to space these out just a little bit along the move along normal and get those just spaced out slightly. There we go. And we'll probably need to add a few more edges, but like with the other one, we'll get to that when we go to add the thickness. But to this point, we've got it cut the way we want in the piece that we want. Now we got one more cut to do, and this one is going to be a little bit trickier. You can see right here, we've got a line going from this wheel arch, curves up, goes horizontal, curves up again, and goes at an angle up over the top part over to this belt line. And it cuts across this character line here. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, but you can see we have the resolution there. So we need some resolution here to create this curve. We already have these 3 points right here. So we can use these at this point. We just need to move them over. So we can either move them over or we can redraw. But we know that they're going to end up having to go all the way over here, and we've got these guys in the way. So let's start at this side, move everything over past this line, and then we'll be able to redraw that exactly where we want it. So let's start the farthest point, and we've got these guys. I'm just actually going to redraw these. It's going to be easier than having to worry about keeping that curvature. So I'm going to just select my split polygon tool. I'm going to start at the point that I want to keep and make sure that I'm far enough over, and then I'll just redraw that up here. Okay, and then I'll just select the edges that I don't want and delete those. And now I need to do the same thing with this guy. I'm going to start it down here at this point. If I can get down there. Right there. And space it out a little bit. Still staying on the side of the where we're going to have the cut. And just pop that over there onto that line and get rid of this edge over here by selecting these and just deleting that edge. So we've moved those out of the way now. So now we need to figure out how to move these guys over. So we can do it one at a time by drawing. Let's go ahead and do that. Might be a little bit safer than trying to move all those points at once in that direction. So I'm going to find a point where I think the geometry is fine. It's going to be right there. And this is going to be, let's say, right along here. And I'm just going to draw up on kind of on the side of where that point is, where that cut's going to be. And this is going to also serve to hold our geometry when we smooth it out a little bit. And now I can delete these faces here, or these edges rather, by selecting those and deleting those edges. Then we can do the same thing with the middle edge, and this is going to be the edge that actually defines where we cut this guy. So I'm just going to go right up here and draw it right along there, all the way over to the side where we were. Okay, and now I can get rid of these edges. And then we just have one more to do. And this one I'm just going to draw right on the side here. Just follow this guy. All right, to the edge. There we go. And if we want to, we can go ahead and move some of these. I'd like to keep this indentation here, and hopefully that'll be okay. I'm going to just grab those edges that I just rerouted and delete those. And if you want to, you can go ahead and pull these guys over just to smooth things out a bit and make the topology a little better looking. We can go ahead and smooth all these out a little bit later if we want to. But right now we're concerned about having this geometry right where we want it. So let's take a look at what else we need to do. All right, so this edge is pretty good. We just need a little bit more resolution there. Pull this guy over. Let's pull this guy over and up a little, and then let's pull this guy up. Okay, so you see what I'm doing there. I'm just drawing that curve out. We'll actually use this guy as the cut line, I think. So we can move this over a little bit, just so we can have enough resolution there to create that curve. Okay, and now let's go ahead and add some resolution here for this guy. Now we need an edge to hold this smoothness or the sharpness on this wheel arch. So we can use this edge for kind of both duties here, for both jobs. We'll insert one right here along the side here, and that's going to hold this edge where we want it. And now we've got this point right here that we can use to actually create that curve there. And we know that when we smooth it, that's going to curve out. It's going to smooth out, so we don't have to worry about that sharp edge since we'd only have one. Okay. All right, so let's see how that looks. Let's go ahead and select all of our faces that we want to extract here. Shift select anything that I don't want selected here. Let's see how that looks. I think I'm going to go ahead and just use the original plan of using this one, and then we'll be able to use this edge to kind of make that nice and sharp. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and before I do that, looking at this, it looks a little bit like we could make that curve a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to pull this over slightly, just like that. And now let's go ahead and cut that piece out. So I'm going to go back and select those faces. I'm going to leave off that first row and just select the rest of our back end here of this panel. And don't forget these guys up here. Okay, so I've got this nice line here, and I want to make sure that I don't have anything else selected. Oh, like those guys. You want to wireframe once in a while and check, make sure that's all you've got. Okay, now I'm just going to extract that. Mesh extract. And now I don't have to go in and add edges at least along this part. We'll probably still have to add a few edges to get that looking the way we want, but at least now we have our separate panels cut up and ready to go, so that in the next lesson we can come back in and start adding thickness and extruding edges and getting those panels look like they fit together. Okay.